to get started with Phobos, you can always go to the GitHub page, scroll down to the wiki, and there are quite a number of information on the Phobos wiki on GitHub. So you can read, scroll down to this form of table of contents on how to install Phobos, configuring Phobos for Blender, how to integrate Phobos and Blender, and some basic terminology that are being used in Phobos and Blender. Also, there's a write-up on walkthrough on how to build a robot using Phobos. So a lot of good information said that you can always check out. And also I will make reference to this documentation during the tutorial. So what I'm going to do is that I've created a very mini 4-wheel drive robot here that I'm going to be using throughout this tutorial. So I've modeled this normally the way you model almost anything in Blender. So I have the robot's body, I have my wheel, I have a small cylinder here that's supposed to be for my LiDAR sensor, and I have a camera here. So we're going to be setting all this up using Phobos for Blender. So the first thing you do is, normally if you are building URDFs, we have geometry, which talks about the visual of a particular link. We also have lengths, again, joints, collision, inertia, and the rest. So the same workflow is applicable in Phobos. So the first thing to do is to tell Phobos what these are. So there are 3 things that we can do regarding this. We can either choose to say what I'm doing now, it's going to be visual, what will be visible as a URDF link. Also, you can build for collision and you can build for inertia. So the first thing to build for is the visual. It's basically, since I want all this part to show in my simulation, I just have to tell Phobos that everything you are seeing, it's a visual element. So I'll just click all, click A to select all, and go to Phobos type. Yeah, I mentioned this earlier that if you want to open this context menu, you can just use the N button to open or close it, and you should have your Phobos here. So after selecting all, what you have to do first is to click set Phobos type. Once I click set Phobos type, it's going to be visual, and then we can do a lot of things. It says geometry here. There are 2 ways you can go about this. You can either make it a mesh or you make it primitives. Primitives are much more easier to compute. Sometimes when you have some complex shape that cannot be exactly defined in a particular shape, let's say for a cylinder or a box, you can just use mesh. But in this case, everything that I have here, it's a primitive. I have a box, I have a cylinder. Basically just box and cylinder. So what I've just do is to select all my cylinders and set Phobos type, their visual element, and their all cylinders. And okay. So based on the Phobos documentation, it's good that after completing a particular step, you press the A key so that you don't stand the risk of losing the operation that you did initially. So after doing that, I also have to select this, the main body, and the camera. Again, I'm going to set Phobos type. And in this case, these are boxes. So one way to use mesh is to maybe just select everything and then make all of them a mesh. But in this case, I don't want all of them to be a mesh. I can easily just put box or cylinders. It makes it less computationally expensive. So another way to verify this is that once you click on a particular element and you check the menu here, you can scroll down. So it says the name is cube. You can actually name it anything. It's Phobos type. Another thing I'm going to recommend is that it's good, just for reference in URDF, if you can name all your elements what they are meant to be, just the way you are going to write a URDF file. This is my right back wheel, left back wheel, the LiDAR sensor, camera, and all. So after doing that, the next thing to do is to create a link. So I'm going to be selecting chop the body, and in URDF, links are basically the object or the robot body. So I'm going to select this particular element and then click on create link, and it shows a menu here where the link should be created. I'll just select selected object, and it creates a link here. So in Blender, these are called the lengths, the armature, and the bones. So this is looking way too big for me. I've just scaled it down. I put this in wireframe mode so I can see this better. So this, it's a link now. So I can do the same for every of the elements like that. But before that, I have to select the main body and then the link. Press Ctrl P and then select bone relative. It's stated in the wiki that you have to select bone relative. So I'll select bone relative. Again, I'm going to be doing this for each of the elements. I can actually select all and create link. Now I'm going to be selecting bone relative for all. Click first on the element and then click on the link. Ctrl P and bone relative. Now for this particular camera, you can see I don't really like the orientation of the link. It's supposed to be the other way around. So I've just select the bone and come to item and change the orientation from here. So there's 19 degrees. So this how this is supposed to be. So again, click shift to select. Make sure the bone is the last thing you are selecting. So Ctrl P and bone relative. So after selecting all of that, now I have to, just like while defining URDF, we have to set the base root, which is the base link in which every other link is connected to. Now the base link in this case is the cube link. So for me to do that, I have to select the cube link and then parent all other elements to it. So to do this, I have to select just the links and select the parent link as the last link, and then again Ctrl P and click on set parent to object. So after adding all links to the parent link, which is the link connected to the cube, you notice that if you try to move this particular link, every other element moves with it. So it means it has now been linked to the parent link and it's now a single entity. So the next thing to do is that we have to name our model. You can do this now, you can always do it later. So what this process does is to give a name to our model. So in case you export it to URDF, as we're going to be doing later, it will have a name for the robot. So to do that, just maybe select all and click on name model. So I'll just give this maybe a robot. It can be any name at all. Name and okay. So once you do this, you will see that the parent link changes to a form of range. What this means is that basically showing that this is the parent link. So it shows to this form of range after naming. So with this, we're done with all our links. So the next thing we have to do is to create joints, type of joints that each link is going to be. So I can change it back to this view and just see what we currently have. I always prefer to work sometimes in wireframe. So to create a joint, I'm going to be adding a joint to each of the elements, to each of the link connected to the parent link. So I will start from here. I've defined joints. And yeah, it asks me to give it a name. You can always give it any name that you like, but I always prefer to name it according to the link that it is attached to. So this is the left back wheel link. So I'll just name it left back wheel link joints. It can be maybe joint. So I'll give it this name. And you have to select the type of joint that it is. If it is revolute, there are different types of joints in URDF. So we have continuous, prismatic, fixed, and the rest. So this is going to be a continuous joint because it's going to be moving continuously. So continuous joint, and yes, so once we are done, it shows this form of like a continuous circle, front and back. So I'll do the rest for each of the tires. So after doing that for the tire, I also do it for the LiDAR and the camera. So for the LiDAR, I'm going to be defining a fixed joint. For this, I'll just call it LiDAR link joint, and it's going to be a fixed joint. So fixed. So you have some kind of a jack symbol for fixed joint. Again, this is going to be a fixed joint camera. So now we are done defining all our joints. One great feature with Phobos is that you can actually check how the joints are in real time. If I click on a particular joint and I change from object mode to post mode, or I can just split Control Tab and click on R. So I can rotate this to show how this will look like in real time using R to rotate. So again, you can click on another particular joint to check that out, whether continuous joint or any joint at all. So after creating, the first thing that we did was to create the visual to make all our element visual, then we created link, then we created joint. So the next thing we have to do is to set up our collision models. So to do this, it's really simple, just like the way we created the joint. So I'm going to select the element and then click on create collision object. So clicking on create collision object, I have an object created, and you can see, if you're familiar with URDF, you know that both the visual for the geometry and the collision, they are most times the same thing. But here, there's a problem. The collision box is quite smaller than what it used to be. It's supposed to be. So I just have to change the dimension of the collision model. So to do this, again, I've select object, or maybe to make it much more better, I can just click on the object I'm targeting and check for the dimension. So this is 1.5, 1.0, and 0.3. So I'll click on the collision model and change this accordingly. 1.5, 1, and 0.3. So I have my collision model, the same thing with my visual model. So I'm going to be doing the same thing for all the other elements. And I'll select all the wheels at once. And again, create collision geometry. And you can see here that it defines the collision as a box. We don't want that. So we want the collision for the wheels to be cylinder also. Sometimes you may even make this fair depending on your design. So I'm going to make this to be cylinder and then change the orientation of the cylinders are not quite right. So I need to change this to make them look exactly. So what I need to do, what I usually do most times, is to just check the dimensions of the original visual. So this is 0.3, 0.3, 0.1. So I'll select all the collisions. I'll just change this accordingly. This 0.3, 0.3, and then also change the rotation of each of the collisions. So the original model for this is 90. So I'll change this also to 90. So with this, I'm done adding collisions to the wheels. So what I also do is to add collisions to the LiDAR and the camera. Now that the collision has been added for all the parts, you can see there's some form of changing color for collision. If I just move this a little bit and come up here and turn off the collision, you see for the normal part without the collision, it's all gray or whatever color this is. And then if I turn the collision back on, it changes to this form of low light color. So you can always turn this on or off to check what you are doing, but you have to know that for you to export the final model, the collision has to be turned on so that it's going to reflect on the URDF. After adding collision, the next thing you have to add is the inertia. If you look at the normal structure of URDF, we used to have the geometry which has been defined. It can be boss or anything. We also have the collision, and then the next thing we have to add is the inertia and the mass value. So to do this, I've just select all and come to Phobos and click on create inertias. So you can set up a mass for each of the elements. It can be anything at all. You can actually make this to be too detailed by looking at your calculations, but let's just use an imaginary value here, 0.96. Okay, so with this, I've created an inertia for all. And if I go back to wireframe, this box, these are the inertia. So again, another thing you notice is that it creates a collection here for inertia. So we have the inertia and the collisions. So with this, we are done with the basic setup of Phobos, how to prepare the model for URDF exporting. Now, before talking about exporting the CAD, there's some other things available in Phobos that I would like to point out. Now, if you check from the top, you might play around with what we have available here. But the most important thing I would like to talk about is the hardware configuration. For example, now I have a LiDAR and a camera here. One thing you should take note of is that whenever you are clicking any of this, most times you tend to select the collision after creating the collision, because the collision now overlays on the main visual mesh. So what you can do is to just hide the collision. You can just simply click on the hide symbol. So now if I click on the camera, for example, and I want to add a camera sensor, I click on what I have to click is on the particular link. Now if I click on add sensor, I have different sensors I can add. maybe a camera sensor, and then you can set other parameters. Yeah, you can you can give the sensor a name. But I don't usually use this method. I will not recommend using this method because sometimes the plugin might have changed in Gazebo or RVs, and this still uses the old plugin. So instead of adding your hardware, yeah, you can just add it after exporting the URDF. So that's why it's also important to have some general knowledge of how URDF works for you to work with CAD tools. So that's what I want to point out regarding this. So on exporting, just click on a path to export here. So I've just selected folder that I've created, and you can check selected only. It's going to only export only the selected mesh. And again, you can select the type of model you want to export, if it's SDF, SMOF, PDF. And if you have meshes, in this case, we are using all primitives, so we don't have any mesh. But again, you can select any mesh that you want to export. It can be in DAE, STL, or anything like. So if you select, for example, STL here, you also have to go and select STL here. And if you select anything. So there are different things that there are different methods that you can use to export. It can be relative, ROS package, relative plus ROS style, ROS package, and relative. Now, if you choose relative, this is only going to export URDF parts, which, from what I discovered, did not really simulate when using ROS. So what I've been using is the relative plus the ROS style. So this is going to export just the URDF for us. If you select ROS package, it's going to export a form of package in URDF. But again, this can be worked on later using just the old way of defining things. So most time you always want to have your way of defining your package, setting up the license, and setting up the depends. So I've just export only relative plus ROS style so that I can have more flexibility in defining my package just the way I want it after exporting the URDF. So once that is done, you can click on export model. So it's going to export. It shows export successfully. And to check that, I've simply come to what I've selected. It's in CAD, test, and I have the name here, robot. If I click here, I have a file called URDF. I can click on this, and I have two different files generated: the robot.urdf and robot ROS. I'm surprised this is supposed to be basically the same thing, but it turns out that robot ROS.urdf is the one that you can easily simulate using RFs or Gazebo. I tried with robot.urdf. It doesn't really work the way I want. I'll just stick to robot ROS.urdf. So this is our URDF file. You can modify this just the way you want. In case there is anything that is missing, you can add more parameters, set it up in Gazebo, which I'm going to be doing in the next tutorial, and set it up for RVs. So that's it for this tutorial. We've successfully exported our CAD model to URDF. For some people, this might just be the only thing they needed. They already have a workflow that they can use to visualize the URDF and add it to their current project. But if you are wondering how you can visualize this in RVs or Gazebo, I'm going to be doing a video after this that talks exactly about that. So thanks so much, and I'm going to see you in the next tutorial.